Hello, thanks for clicking in. So today we're going to have a thorough look at the security footage from outside the Watts house. I wasn't going to do this, but the reason that I am doing it is because before I start, I wanted to get something out of the way. There are a lot of examples of things on YouTube that I've seen that are affected by the following phenomenon. Have a look at this, and then we'll do that. Then we'll look at the video, and then I'm going to tell you what I think actually happened that night as Chris was packing his car. Right then, thank you very much for taking the time to watch that. It was just something I had to get out of my system. It's been with us since day one, since the first time I saw one of those videos. And if you don't believe me, have a crack at it yourself. Zoom right in on something on the video footage that you think you might have seen, and then, or that you didn't, just a patch of it randomly, and look at it. If you look at it for long enough, you're gonna see something. That's what your brain does. So when I was looking at this footage, what I tried to do was try and avoid that completely. It'll happen to me as well. It happens to everybody. It's absolutely normal to think that you see things, and it's what your brain does. It tries to make sense out of things that it's looking at. So you're gonna see something in it because there's nothing there for it to see. It's just the way it is. So when I was looking through the footage, what I decided to do, I'm not going to go through every little thing because that's dull, let's face it. So what I'm going to do is look at the examples of things that I thought were significant. But first of all, I'm going to share something with you that almost gave me a heart attack. Let's start with that. So right, at this point I'm freaking out and I'm thinking, oh my God, have I missed this all along? And then I thought, okay, chill. And I had a look at Nate's flag throughout the same time scale, because I was thinking it looks like the same person, but you see that one walks out and then another walks out, and I was completely doolally tap. Anyway, some would say that's a pre-existing condition, but so what I did was I focused on Nate's flag, and I'm going to show that footage for you now. And as you can see, there is a jump cut. You can quite clearly see both the flag and the plant move. So what then happened was I determined a place for where I was going to start the footage, which was at that jump cut. Before I start looking up things of significance, what I wanted to do was just show you two pictures. These are just stills from the video. They're not very clear, as these things tend not to be, but they show Chris Watts walking out of the house and also walking past the near side of the truck. And I wanted to just point out that on both photographs he has the same outfit and footwear. It's not until later in the video, when he's been in the house for a while, that he finally comes out in his work boots. But he's wearing the same footwear. It's unclear if it's white trainers, white shoes, or actually socks that he's got on, but they are the same in both. Have a look. Okay, so the first thing of significance to me is that Chris often comes out of the house and then walks around the front of the truck to gain access to that side of the car's door. When he does, the light is reflecting in the wing mirror and flashing through the bushes, and then he'll walk back up into the house on the near side. So he goes down the far side and up the near side, and he does that quite a few times. If you watch the video yourself, you'll see him doing this, and I think it's just simple concealment. He knows what can be seen on Nate's camera, and I'll show you an example of when he forgot to do that in a moment. Just have a look at this one first though, because I think at this point what he's doing is he's prepping the car. So I don't think that he put the bin bags on Shanann's head and feet. I don't think that the children were in them either. I did initially, but I don't now, and there's a reason for that, but we'll get to that later. I think what he did was he laid the bin liners on the floor of the rear of the truck to place Shanann on. That's just what I think, but the reasons for that will become clear. But I think that's what he's doing during this process, so he can't be seen. He's aware that he can't be seen on Nate's truck if he goes behind that bush, and he'll walk round with something he probably shouldn't have, and then back round the front of the truck, and then put whatever he shouldn't have into that side of the truck. I don't know why that side of the truck. Could be there's something already in the far side of the truck, and there isn't room. But he keeps doing this, so have a look at this clip. It's not the only time he does it. So, Mr. Watts, where would you like to put your petrol can? I know where I'd like to put it. This next clip shows him completely forgetting that he can be seen and putting the petrol can into the side of the car where the truck where he can be seen, and then worrying about that, going back into the house and going, oh no, I know what I'll do. I'll go back where the can't see is, and I'll go round the truck and I'll put it in the other side. But then I believe he takes it out again because it does spend some time on the floor. The reason that I say that is not because I've imagined the shape of it, but because you can see a red bit under the truck. I think it's gone down under the floor, and I think later on, when he's picking things up, I think that is one of the things he's picking up. He has anything that he's loading his truck with on the opposite side, on the far side. So have a look at this, because it is actually quite amusing to see the panic and the stupidity of this man. But yeah, you can see him, the panic in him, because he's realised he can be seen with this petrol can that he shouldn't really have. Now, I think that the most significant part in the video that I noticed was when he appears to be pulling something backwards out of the house. And he appears to be a little further away than he usually is. So, and the reason you know he's backwards is, well, was that a Freudian slip? The reason you know he's moving backwards is because you can see the light shine on his face. I will come back to the light later as well. You can see it shine on his face, and you know that he's pulling backwards, and he appears to be making that kind of movement. I'll show the clip for you a couple of times over, but it's probably best seen for yourself, because it actually, I've taken a shot of the corner of the video, but it actually looks better on the bigger screen. So please do have a look at it. So it's my belief that when Chris is doing this, he is pulling Shanann out to the car, out to the truck, and it's quite fast. And it seems to be that he's moved further away from the far side of the truck, but there is like a flat shadow. And what you'll find is every time that Chris Watts walks out of that house, the light is here. Okay, so Chris Watts comes out here, and what happens is, because Chris is between the light, the light, this is a terrible demonstration by the way, the light and, you know, in front of the light, every time the shadow of Chris comes that way, like that. Have a look at the video and just watch every time. And not once in the whole time I've looked at those did any of those look like children. There is one time where he's clearly stood there and then he bends down to pick something up, but it's just what he's loading in his truck. So he bends down to pick it up, but it's my firm belief that other than his deceased family, only Chris Watts is on this footage. So how did he get her out of the house so quickly? After he's done this, he then spends a minute at the cab of the truck. That's the longest that he spends down there. And I think what he's done is, I think there's something visible in the house that he used to move Shanann. At first I thought maybe a trolley or a wagon or something like that. But on the body cam footage there is a wheelie bin. What I call a wheelie bin, I don't know what other countries would call it. Like a large trash can with wheels on the bottom that you can tip up and pull backwards. And I think he'd put her in that to transfer her from the house to the truck. And then tipped her up into the floor of the truck. And that took him about a minute to do that, to tip her up into the truck. Sorry, I'm getting upset thinking about it. I'm trying to be objective. So, and then just immediately, he can leave that there, but I think he pulled it down the grass as well, rather than the path, because when you pull a bin along a path, it makes a loud rattling noise. Anybody who's taken that kind of bin out knows this. So I think he pulled it down the grass and then across to the truck. And I think that's how he got Shanann from the house to the truck. And another reason I think that is because you can see a wheelie bin in the garage with the lid off, which is weird because that would do my head in, having the lid off it. That seems quite spotlessly clean. And he had plenty of time after he'd done this to clean it. And the people who came in with the dogs noted that the house smelled like chemicals as well. So that could be part of the reason why. Like I said, it's just my opinion, but it's an opinion based on what I can see. So the last clip I'm going to show from this footage is when Muppet Boy, I call him Muppet Boy because he's just a puppet, just no emotion unless there's, you know, it's being operated or it's seen it somewhere else. He pops back to the house and I think he pulls the truck out of the house and realises that the garage door is shown open. Maybe gets an alert on his phone and has to go back to check it. It's still shown as open, but he has to check that it's locked because he doesn't want the house left open because, well, he's still got cleaning up to do. He's got things to do to hide his crime. I mean, he doesn't get to do those, thankfully. So in a nutshell, that's what I think happened. I think he used the bin liners to try and protect the floor of the truck. I think he used a wheelie bin to move Shanann out. And I think he put the children into plastic containers. And it could be very likely that he disposed of those elsewhere. It's a bit more difficult to hide a wheelie bin in a truck. But the little plastic containers, very likely not. So that's what I think happened. I don't think there's any accomplice in view on the footage, and I think if there was an accomplice left in the house, which is still a possibility, that they would have to have exited the house another way and possibly would have had a key to the property. The door or window that they left would have to have been closed from the outside. And that would have been something that Chris would have arranged with them. So I'm not saying that it discounts a possibility of an accomplice in this crime at all. What I'm saying is I don't think they're on the footage. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say I know they're not on the footage. So anyway, that's my analysis of that security footage. But please do have a look at both that and all the body cams. I've posted the links down below. MommyRamblingsBlog is the best source on YouTube for original Weld County documentation, videos, interviews, etc. Because they've all come directly from the file. She's uploaded them. They're all in one place on our channel. So please do go and have a look. Use your own common sense, your own eyes, and, you know, make your own decisions. Your theory could be completely different to mine. That's okay, as long as we've looked and we've got a reason for that. So I was really pleased to be able to share that with you, and I hope that you've actually enjoyed my perspective on it, on this horrible tragic event. I understand that, and I hope that it's brought some clarity to the speculation on the footage and how we can see things that aren't there, and how I've tried to stay as subjective as possible from my perspective anyway. So I hope that's appreciated. Don't let this case get you down if you can. I know it's not easy. I know it's not, because I've been affected too. But you know what? It's not all bad. This young lady and our children have encouraged the rest of us to shine and appreciate every day and love every day. And every time I feel a bit blue or down, I'm now going to start thinking about how she lived her life, how full of joy those children and her looked. And I will never forget how Christopher Watts, and I think this is a Hamlet quote, no, it's Macbeth, something about what he did to her in her last weeks. He put out the light, and then he put out the light. I think he tried to put out a light the first time, and I really wish he hadn't the second. Anyway, there'll be a live tomorrow where we can talk about this, that or the other. You choose, we'll have a natter, and I shall see you then. But in the meantime, be as safe as you can be, and just stay wonderful. All right, bye-bye.